I do appreciate both our technology partners for supporting this education series with TCS, first of 4 planned webinars that we have for the year. And so thanks both to Pax8 and Sangoma for supporting us in that. And to our clients, we couldn't do it without you guys. So real thankful for the trust and working with us as your technology partner. So what we want to do really throughout the year is just focus on how business can be improved using technology, and so we just want to educate around that. And the 4 planned sessions we have for this year really will kind of build on blog posts that have been written. So this one in particular, Turning Your Business Inside Out, is building on a article that was written back in January. And so it's really about developing a mobility first strategy for your business. And so the article was written because of the effect of COVID that we've seen in IT and on business, and really probably more from a reactive standpoint, forcing a lot of businesses to adapt to a work from home or work remote kind of strategy. And even though there's been a paradigm shift in that direction, the pandemic, I think, has really increased the need or the visibility of the advantages of being able to do that and still keep the wheels of business turning. So what we wanted to do is take that from what we've experienced and seen more on a reactive kind of posture, and talk about how you can proactively manage your business and your technology around a mobility first strategy to kind of get ahead of that. And so that's what this is going to be about today. And let's see if I can advance the slide here. There we go. So again, thanks to our presenters, Jessica Campus, who is a marketing manager with Sangoma. And Sangoma is our partner who delivers unified communications and voice solutions. And so it's the voice platform that we run here at TCS, and real thankful for their support. So Jessica, thanks for helping present this today. And also Nate Brown, who is with Pax8, and Pax8 is another one of our technology partners where we get Microsoft 365 licensing and SentinelOne and some of the other products that our clients are used to hearing us talk about. But as far as cloud software solutions, they're a partner with us on that, and always appreciate their guidance and expertise in helping us support our clients. So today talking about Microsoft 365 and Teams. So thanks to Nate for your involvement in this today. And then myself, COO for TCS since May 1st of last year. So can't believe that we're real close to a year, me being with Total Computer Solutions. And so it's been a fun ride so far, and I'm looking forward to continued success with the company, but enjoying my work here, enjoying to get to know the clients that I've been working with, and managed to more and more get to meet face to face, which is always great. And now that we seem to be getting over some of the COVID restrictions, that's been a little bit easier to do with some of our clients. So great meeting folks when we can. So as far as a mobility first strategy, the first question I think is, why even bother doing that? What's in it for you and your business, and why make this a matter of focus? So there's a lot of advantages as we see it to really doing this. And I think there's really kind of a paradigm shift that's going on in computing anyway, of cutting the tether and being able to work from anywhere. So we're seeing a lot of advantages of it. And some of the younger workforce, especially, I think it's almost an expectation we find and so just kind of attracting young talent. It's something that is almost expected in a lot of cases. But one of the advantages is just baked in business continuity and the flexibility of not having to rely on the infrastructure inside your four walls. Um, Workplace flexibility, and again, being able to attract from a wider talent pool who maybe wants a more flexible workplace, and so attracting maybe folks outside of the local region and having talent that can work for you on a remote exclusive basis. And I know I've had a good experience with staff working out of state that had worked for me and gone out of state and worked and continued to work remotely for a year even, and had good success with that. And then it's good for employee morale having that flexibility. Folks will take less PTO when they have the option maybe to work from home rather than if they have a kid at home sick and they're able to get work done from the house, then that helps reduce PTO hours. Um, you know, you do have to address communication expectations and have a culture of communication, which we're going to get to here in a minute, to really make this work. Because trying to manage that, relationship and that work from a distance can be difficult if not done intentionally. And also having an increased focus on endpoint and application security is really a must. And that's actually a topic that we're going to develop further and talk about more in an upcoming webinar. I believe actually our next one that will dive into that a little bit more. And then more efficient use of facilities. So maybe with an expanding, growing company and having more work from home options, then that makes more efficient use of the space. And then we're seeing things like telemedicine out of the COVID pandemic, for example, demonstrating the effectiveness of being able to do video conferencing rather than traveling. So it can make those things more efficient as well. So a lot of upsides to doing this. And there's really three pillars of doing this well, I think, for a mobility first strategy. And to me, having a good, solid company culture is paramount and really the first thing to kind of nail down to make this successful. And then just the technology stack behind it, having the right kind of infrastructure and the intentional designing how your systems work with your voice and unified communications and how you collaborate and share information with your different work groups. So Microsoft 365 and Teams being a good example of how TCS is doing that. And I was working from home for a couple of weeks, had to quarantine with my wife who had COVID, mild case, fortunately, but I was working from home a couple of weeks and really didn't miss a beat, really, because we were using all of these things here at TCS, and I was able to work effectively and didn't have to be in the office. So that was a real blessing to be able to do that during a time where I couldn't leave the house. So as far as company culture, a book we use at TCS to really kind of drive focus around having the right type of company culture is Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. And I won't do a deep dive into this, but if there's any follow-up questions or want to talk more about using this book to build company culture, I'll be happy to do that. Used it both at Infinity Network Solutions, where I came from, and here at TCS as well. But really to have a focus, results-oriented team, you have to have a culture of accountability, a culture of commitment, being able to have healthy conflict within the organization. Not all conflict is bad, but being able to do it in a professional, healthy way. And the foundation for that, for all of that, is to really have solid trust between employees and management to really have the accountability that's needed and ultimately to get the results. And when you are trying to manage a company culture and dynamic from a distance, then having these things nailed down really helps make that more effective. Um, and not having this in place can be detrimental, really, in having people work at a distance. So this is kind of key thing to get right from a business strategy. And then just sharing how TCS does that here, a couple ways as far as our culture and setting expectations. So we actually have in our run books a communication standard that we publish and educate and train around with our employees. And there's no right or wrong in how to do this, but for us, it's having clarity around different forms of communication, and then what are the internal and external expectations, SLAs, if you will, on when we would expect to have a response based on whether it's a phone call or a voicemail or an email. And so we know within TCS, if we need an answer in less than 8 business hours, then we probably don't want to send an email. And maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's just going, standing in the doorway, or a Teams message or something like that. But at least having clarity about these expectations. For us, if it's a cell phone or a voicemail left on a cell phone, then we're expected to respond to that within 4 business hours. And so, it's again just having clarity about those expectations, and then also positive exchange of control, or really who will do what by when, and having clarity about when we're handing off responsibility, passing the ball to someone else in the organization, just having clarity of who is taking responsibility for an action, what exactly are they going to do, and by when do we expect that to be done. And so the way we kind of communicate that is with a pilot instructor who's handing off controls. And so, there's a practice of positive exchange of control in who's taking control of the aircraft. And so, the pilot will say, you have the controls, and the other person will respond, acknowledging I have the controls. And then the pilot again will say, you have the flight controls, before he releases. And so again, it's that confirmation of who has the ball, who's taking responsibility, and then what's the expectation of what we're going to get done by when. And again, when we do this at a distance from each other, having these sort of things in place where there's an understanding of, well, if I didn't get them on the phone and I left a voicemail, or I need to hand off a task, that we have a clear kind of protocol in place that's understood within the company on how that's supposed to work, and we have clear expectations around that. So anyway, at least from what TCS is doing internally, these are some ideas. I think exactly what you do is maybe less important than just having something that's clearly defined and understood by all, and then there's clarity about what we can expect from each other. I think that's the most important thing. So that's it for now on company culture, but be glad to speak to any of our clients in depth on this. Rob Betzel, my former CEO at Infinity, had written a book on company culture, and so that was something that was kind of baked into the DNA of where I came from, and bringing some of that to TCS with me. But I've always been real appreciative of Rob's leadership in that regard, and I think we're seeing that pay dividends at TCS as well. So be happy to talk to any of our clients about that at any time. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and she's going to talk to us about Sangoma and unified communications. So, Jessica.
Thanks so much, Charlie. I appreciate it. So yeah, just like you said, we're talking about modern UC features brought to you by Sangoma. And I'm going to kind of give some, not only like an overview of who Sangoma is and what these features are, but also some real life scenarios on how, just us as a company, we've been able to thrive out of the office and kind of, like Charlie had said, we all got thrown into the unknown about this time last year. And we've been able to, really thrive in this unknown because of these UC features. So next slide, if you don't mind, Charlie. A quick overview of anyone who's not familiar with who Sangoma is and just what is it that we do. So we are in the UC space, which is unified communications. And a lot of people correlate that with like business phone systems. But the thing to note here is that it's not just call center, business phone systems. This is everything from small mom and pop tire shops all the way up to enterprise solutions. It really does encompass a lot of different businesses. It's not just techie firms as well. As you can see, over the past several years, we've been growing exponentially, over 600% growth in the last 5 years. We went from a $20 million company up to 130 million. And, we're only projected to continue growing with that. So a thing that sets us apart is that we offer everything that you need as far as UC goes, as a suite. So it's not just a business phone system. We make our own phones, we make our own headsets, we have our own soft phones, kind of all the other complementary devices or services that you may need with a UC business phone system. We have that. So that's important that you're not having to, I like to call it Frankensteining a system together, and you're having to go to 4 different companies for support because your phones are made by this vendor and then your headsets are made by this vendor. Well, that's breaking and that's not, integrating. Could you imagine having to do that when we all got told, okay, go home. You can't work in the office. It's not safe anymore. Like that, could have been a nightmare for a lot of people. So for those that, really jumped fully onto the bandwagon and got all of the products and services Sangoma has to offer, it was a very seamless transition. You just take your phone home. If you want a desk phone, plug it in and it worked. It's fantastic. We have over 2 million installed seats across the world. So, we're proud of our track record and we're very anxious and excited to see where that's going to go for us in the future. Charlie's a perfect example. We have proven commitment to our channel. Our partners are our family. They really are extensions of our company. And Charlie and his team, they know this product like the back of their hand. I've joked around that they might as well just be an engineer and come work in support because they know it so well. So you know that you're backed by a winning team from vendor all the way down to our partner. And we have a couple of awards listed here in the bottom right corner that you see for teleworking solutions, which is what we're talking about today. Okay, so to give you a quick overview of the modern tools from Sangoma and how we've been able to use them as a company and some of our customers have to stay connected from home and be productive. The first thing I want to talk about is our desktop soft phone, and I guess I should also say mobile soft phone as well, because you'll see 2 GIFs on the right-hand side. This has been everyone's best friend. Not only does this minimize your desktop footprint, but what this is it is a soft phone for your desktop computer or for your laptop. You don't have to have that physical device on your desk. It works just like your phone. You can make and receive calls from your work extension, because we are an extension-based company, not an endpoint-based company. So you can have a mobile soft phone, a desktop soft phone, a physical desk phone, and it only costs 1 seat because we view that as that's one person, just a couple devices. You can chat one-on-one with your colleagues. We have our desktop soft phone chat available. You can also SMS message them. So if you're not messaging them directly on their extension, you can message them on their cell phone. I used this. I've kind of started coming back in the office a day or two during the week, kind of weaning myself back into normalcy. I'm really looking forward to it. But I can text my husband from my mobile or desktop soft phone. So it's fantastic that you can kind of tie your personal and work life all together if you wanted to from one device. But this is also good. Think of this for your customers or for your clients. You can communicate with them directly on their personal device and your coworkers. And the beautiful thing is that it shows your work phone number. You are not giving your personal cell phone number to anyone. It looks like you're texting them from the extension that's on your business card, which is fantastic. So you can literally add call or text at, and then your work extension, your work number. So this has been great for real estate agents who are always remote. You know, some people didn't have the rude awakening that most of us did. They were already remote because of their industry. So this is great for real estate. It's great for law firms. It's even great for schools and teachers. They don't have to give their personal cell phone to parents or guardians. They can give them their school number and still be reached after hours if they needed to. All right. Next, we're going to talk about our desk phones. So although the soft phones really helped us to transition remotely, some people left their desk phones in the office and they just took their laptops home and they used their soft phone. Some people like the desk phone feel. They feel like they are truly clocking in at work. And so they wanted to take their desk phones home. These, again, are made by Sangoma. These are our phones. So they're going to seamlessly integrate with the Switchvox phone system that we're going to talk about here in a second. Now that I'm back in the office, sometimes I'm on the D80, which is the first phone that you see, and it's our completely touchscreen phone. It literally looks like a little tablet with a phone on the side of it. It's color screened. It has touch space features up to 100 rapid dial keys. What that means is 100 contacts that you can rapidly dial right there from the screen, 20 of them on the screen at one time. So you can scroll back and forth. But this doesn't just show people's names and their extensions. It shows a photo of them. It shows their status, if they're in the office, out of the office. All of these can be customized. So it can say, teaching. Like if you wanted to put this in an education, environment, it could show teachers are testing in progress. Or if you're doing this in an auto dealership environment, your sales team are out in the car lot trying to get new customers, so they could put out on car lot as their status. And the receptionist or the managers can see just from glancing down at their phone what the status is for that employee. So it's really customizable. And we'll talk about call rules and just how customizable that is here in a second. The next phone that you see is the D65. That's our mid-level phone. It's still a color screen, so it looks fantastic sitting on your desk, and it has 6 rapid dial keys on the side, and you can program those to be whatever you need. They can be a paging system extension. They can be individual people. It lights up green if they're on the phone. Managers actually have the ability to monitor, record, whisper, and barge, from the phone and from the switchboard, which we'll show in a second. So when people did start working remote, it literally was as if they were still in the office. They still had that visibility into those people right from that phone. And even on the D62 or the D60, which you see all the way to the right as our entry-level phone, that visibility is still there. You can still, see contacts and what their status is, and you can still listen in on calls if you needed to. It's just a few less busy lamp-filled indicator lights on the side. But what we're trying to show you here is that the visibility is there across the entire suite of phones. And with it integrating so tightly into our Switchvox phone system, taking your phone wherever you need to go is very easy. And it's been ideal for us having to adapt to work remote. Now, I've mentioned the switchboard twice, and that's because I'm very fond of it. I actually have mine open right now. And the beautiful thing about the switchboard is not only is it a bird's eye view into all of your company's communications, but it's available for every user at no additional cost. With Switchvox, all features are included, including this switchboard. So I need to paint this picture for you guys a little brighter. Our switchboard covers all of Sangoma's locations here. I can actually see, I'm based in Huntsville, Alabama, but I can see Larry, who's over in San Diego, California. I can see that he is, you know, um, at lunch with his son, or he might be out of the office that day, or he's on vacation. I could see if he's on the phone. If I'm his manager, I could go so far as to see who he's on the phone with. I could even monitor, whisper, record, or barge into that phone call. So what I'm trying to say is, as a manager having to manage a remote based team, this is truly your best friend. You can see it all on your computer screen. It's completely browser based, real-time stats. You're not having to constantly go up and refresh your browser. It lights up immediately if someone's on the phone. You can see queues. So you can, like if you're having to remotely manage a customer service team, for example, or a support team, you can see a wall board that shows how many calls are waiting to be answered, what's the max wait time, stats on individual queue members to see how many calls they've taken or missed or abandoned. You can even manipulate the people waiting in the queues. As a manager, you could drag people to the top. You can assign it to individuals. So if you're a call center manager, this is fantastic. Obviously, it's giving you those features you need, but I would also challenge yourself to think of this in a more simpler way as well. You don't have to be a call center to benefit from this switchboard. You can keep it just simply contacts, throw it open, keep it open as a tab on your computer, and just have a glance to see, what your employees are up to that day. It's very easy to use. Notifications are built in. All right, leading up to our Switchvox system. So I've given you a couple individual tools that have been able to modernize our communication and our customers' communications, but this leads up to Switchvox, which is our business phone system. All of the features that I've showed you today are used with Switchvox. The switchboard comes included. Of course, you have the phones. You can see in the top right, the monitor and the phone are atop our appliances. So it's a fully featured IP system available on-prem with those appliances. You can throw it in the cloud and use this as a hosted platform if you wanted to minimize that hardware footprint in your IT closet. Or if you are invested in VMware, you can actually virtualize Switchvox. So this is the same phone system with all features included, available 3 different ways. We have 24/7 US-based support, built-in reporting, recording, like I told you, the call queues, the switchboard, IVRs, music on hold, in-queue callback, SMS. The list goes on and on and on. You can see it on our website. All of those are included. It's easy to use, easy to manage. What's the point of giving you all these beautiful, robust features if it takes you forever to figure out how to use it? So our engineers really prided themselves on making our system simple. You do not need to have an IT degree in order to use this phone system. Anyone can truly figure it out. It's very easy. The call center features that are built in, you can customize those yourself. You don't have to necessarily call your IT person to do that. Most managers are able to figure out what they want and build it themselves. But if they can't, we actually do have free training available online, or you can give Charlie and his team a call. And like I said, they know the system, front to back, so they can also help you get that situated. And finally, I want to talk about complete end-to-end manufacturer support. I can't stress this enough. It really is a beautiful thing to have everything coming from one vendor, because you're able to get that support when you need it. It's, flexible. There's tight integrations with all of our solutions that we have. And I know we have the Microsoft team about to speak. We actually do offer integrations with them. So this is perfect if you're looking to tie together the solutions that you're being presented today. Know that that integration is there for you to tie that together. So just wrapping everything up before I pitch it over back to Charlie. There's multiple deployment options, the phones, everything coming to you directly from one vendor. This is a modern system that's going to truly help you work remote and thrive in or out of the office. We have people, like I said, like me, for example, we're slowly starting to come back into the office. We have some people that, you know what, they got used to working from home and they want to stay that way. And that's perfectly fine, because with these modern tools, you can have the visibility and the management that you need to work whenever, wherever, and stay connected in the cloud, virtually, on premise, whether you prefer your mobile phone, a good old desk phone, or a soft phone on your computer. Whether you're a call center or whether you're retail or, you know, a professional services firm, this solution is perfect for you. All right, Charlie, is there anything that you wanted to add? Because like I said, you've known us for a while and you know how the system can really help remote workers. Is there anything you think I missed?
No, I think that was a great overview. I really appreciate that, Jessica. You know, like I mentioned, I've got a long history of working with Sangoma, both in my previous life before joining TCS, and then we adopted this phone system toward the end of last year and implemented it here in our office. And it really does provide a lot of features at a low cost, at a single license per extension, as Jessica mentioned, but has a lot of flexibility in the way that it's deployed, both as an on-premise PBX and in a cloud hosted environment. And so, you know, in keeping with kind of the theme of today, having a cloud hosted version of this where it's not dependent on your local network and power and everything running in your four walls, does provide a lot of flexibility in not, you know, in a business continuity type scenario, for example, where no matter where you are, you plug in your phone or you have the app on your smartphone and you're able to make business calls from, you know, any of these devices. And I use the soft phone on my laptop. And so, you know, when I was working from home during quarantine, I was able to make and receive calls, you know, using my soft phone, and having that kind of flexibility, no matter where I am, is really convenient. And you know, so I think just that kind of mobility first strategy, this is a really flexible system that enables that in a variety of ways. So yeah, I appreciate that. Jessica's good overview of the system there. We're definitely big fans of the platform here at TCS, and that's why we adopted this. So it's a great system. And you know, again, our training and support is behind that. But you know, for our clients, it's, I think, also important to know that we have really strong vendor support on the entire stack, and have had a really great experience with the support after the sale with the team, and that's really important from our perspective as well. So with that, I'll turn it over now to Nate and Jason. They are with Pax8 and going to talk to us about Microsoft 365 and Teams, and how to enable collaboration using the Microsoft stack to help extend the reach of the business workflow outside of your four walls. So, Nate.
Yep. Actually, Charlie, I'll be taking the first couple of slides here.
All right.
Yes, perfect. Thank you guys for the introduction. That was great, Charlie. Again, yeah, my name is Jason Hertz. I'm a channel account manager here at Pax8. Pax8 is a cloud distribution company, and we do work hand in hand with Microsoft on a multitude of things. So we have great knowledge around the M365 products, and specifically Teams is what we'll be focusing on this call today. And again, yes, Nate Brown is on this call as well. He's one of my Microsoft 365 specialists here at PAX 8, and we'll be covering a few of the slides at the end here. So again, just to kind of cover what we're going to be talking about today is M365 and Teams, and really just that idea of, kind of seconding what Jessica and Charlie have stated at the beginning of this call is that, work remote solutions and the idea that this is really possible moving forward, and despite even when COVID is over. It is something that, technology-based companies is really advancing and increasing their sales, adopting these solutions. And it's also, the theme of culture, something that Charlie has stressed at the beginning. It is making that a lot easier moving forward, and building your company's culture, making, your employees a lot more collaborative, and efficient and productive as well. So Charlie, if you go ahead and go to the next slide, that'd be perfect. Awesome. So again, this is just an example of the surge in remote work. People utilizing Teams due to COVID. Again, this was about a year ago that COVID happened, and roughly in 2019, there was about 20 million users of Microsoft Teams. It's increased through March, and then COVID happened, and obviously August of 2020, there was 75 million plus daily users on Teams. And rolling forward into March 2021, there's well over 100 million now users using M365 Teams. And really, the one thing that I want to preference throughout this phone call today is thinking about what companies such as PAX 8 and whoever else is on this call and who may see this in the future, what you were doing before COVID. There's no longer that office talk. There's no longer the the coffee talk or meeting up for happy hour after work, or unfortunately that had to come to a halt. And a lot of employees in Microsoft has come out with research done that 20% of remote workers are actually seeing a huge challenge in collaboration and communication. And then another 20% is loneliness. I'm sure we've all felt this at some point during the pandemic that's been going on over the past year and a half. And if you didn't have the correct tools in place for this type of remote work, that 40% of combined loneliness and collaboration and lack of communication, you're really starting to feel the effects of that, and possibly your business as well. There was also 46% of employees admitted to transferring files between work and personal computers when working from home. So there's a large security risk with this remote work environment without the correct tools in place again. And about 36% have dealt with some sort of security incident due to an unsecured remote worker. And again, without the proper tools in place, you're facing these issues on a day-to-day process, as this COVID is still going on, and possibly in the future with everybody. Some employees, not everybody, but some employees are wanting to continue to work remote. With Teams, however, this will fix just about all of these issues, if not every single one. You're going to see a lot of collaboration, increased collaboration within your company utilizing Teams. Communication is going to be a lot easier and efficient. And, in turn, that's going to create the less loneliness, and people are not going to feel as, kind of stranded on a remote island while working remote. But again, as you can see, it's, Teams is increasing year over year, month over month. It's here to stay post-COVID. It's something that at PAX 8, I use, personally, probably 5+ hours a day. I don't have an exact number on that, but we use this every day. We used it, Nate and I used this to create, our slide deck for this presentation today. And it is something that I just want to stress again, that can help the theme of culture and building that idea that remote work is possible with the correct solutions in place. Charlie, if you go ahead and go to the next slide, that'd be perfect. Awesome. So again, I just want you to think about, are you providing this, your workers the correct tools in place to make them successful? This slide shows, on average, about 20, you're going to be talking about 220 plus of your employees throughout the, throughout the day, possibly throughout the work week. Could be even more, could be a little bit less. But again, you need that collaboration and communication to help your company strive and succeed. And with this, with the fact that you're not able to talk with a colleague at the kitchen, making lunch or while you're getting coffee, that side, coffee chats or hot topics that you bring up, unfortunately had to stop during COVID. But Teams does make this possible with the different utilizations of chat boxes that we have, that you can use internally for it, as well as the customizable extensible within Teams and the integrations of file sharing with M365 apps, such as Excel, such as PowerPoint, such as Word documents as well. You can utilize those M365 apps all within Teams, and it's going to make things obviously a lot more efficient and collaborative moving forward. One of the things that Teams can also utilize and do for you in terms of culture and building that foundation of remote work culture is really what it is something like within PAX 8, we've had after work happy hours on a Teams phone call. You all share your screen, you connect with one another, you discuss how things are going, kind of have those remote coffee side chats. It's just a little bit different, but obviously it is still a way to build your culture and make things, make employees feel a little less lonely. We've even done yoga sessions within our break rooms and whatnot, utilizing Teams. Another cool feature that Teams utilizes, you can build out clubs actually within Teams. So, for example, I'm a part of a golf club and a snowboarding club at PAX 8. We discuss, different golf courses we might be playing, or if anybody's going to go skiing on the weekend. And again, lastly, I actually have daily team meetings when I start my day at work. When I wrap up the day, we discuss how the weekend was, any hot topics, any good conversations. Obviously, I'm in sales, so different opportunities that we built out, talking with customers throughout the day, really just getting a recap and understanding how people's days are going. And again, just that communication and that community that you get utilizing Teams makes everyone a little bit less lonely. It's also going to drive up productivity because people feel like, hey, I'm still talking to my colleagues. I'm understanding what's going on. I'm getting updates on each other and how things are going. And it just, again, is going to make everything a lot more efficient. And again, I just want to think about that last question that we have here on this slide. If you're not utilizing Teams right now or a solution like this, maybe you have adopted it a little bit, but don't know how to fully utilize it. Again, Charlie has the resources to either loop us in or provide what you need to kind of get an idea of how to extensively use this feature set of Teams and utilize it to grow your culture, make things more secure within your company, and just continue to be more efficient and productive. Go ahead and go to the next slide for me, Charlie. And what I want to focus on this slide is the productivity piece, obviously. So again, as you can see here, employees working at an organization saw strong, mobile involvement and saw 16% in productivity. Again, this is all remotely done. So employees are roughly going to see 6.4 more hours each week to have to really focus on other projects, needs, just by utilizing Teams. You have more people collaborating on projects together. For example, that I stated earlier, Nate and I worked on this entire presentation decks via Teams. And it's something that our marketing team does for thousands of our partners and potential customers that we have phone calls with. And we utilize it, daily. Really, it's going to combat the issues of not being able to have that remote work, or excuse me, that in-office experience of collaborating maybe in an off, a desk area, or your desk with your teammates and collaborating on a project that you might be working on. So again, just touching on the productivity side of things, it increases, collaboration together. It's going to increase your productivity within your company, and it's going to finally increase the theme of culture and building a better work area while remote as we continue to deal with COVID, and hopefully, obviously may continue to work remote in the future. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to my colleague Nate to finish up here on the next few slides. But thank you again, Charlie, for your time today.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. So for this first part, I really want to touch on kind of an overview of how Teams works. Teams, as we can see on the left-hand side, is this chats icon. This chats icon is great for one-stop shop to find all of your 1v1 chats, your group chats, and also any meeting chats. Whether you're in the meeting or not able to attend, all of the messages still show there and are always going to be saved there indefinitely. Next, you can also check out the Teams icon right below that. That Teams icon is going to show you all channels that you are in. So that could be a department, that could be a project, that could be a chat that you have with employees on posting pictures of your pets or memes, etc. The message icon on the top is going to be a notification icon, the little bell. The bell will notify you anytime you have received a message from a one-on-one chat or a group chat or a Teams channel. That could be mentioned at you, or it could just be someone posting in your chat. But nevertheless, a great way to know if you have any notifications for your attention. And then lastly, at the bottom is the meetings. The meetings tab integrates with your calendar. So instead of going back and forth with your email and your Teams, you can have it all synced up in Teams in real time without, as I said, going back and forth. Next, I want to focus on audio conferencing. So we touched on that a little bit before with Jason. Audio conferencing is an add-on feature, and you can see these guys on the right are on the audio conferencing call. You can use this feature for internal or external calls. You can also use it for live events and webinars. For audio conferencing with your clients, external or internal, you can have up to 300 users on the call. And if they are not able to sign in with their computer or their phone, they can also call in with a toll-free number or a toll number. For the live events and the webinars, you are able to have up to 10,000 participants as well. And then lastly, on that icon right below the meetings is the call icon. Here is a great way that you can see your Active Directory, view all of your internal colleagues, and you can either chat them there, you can call them, you can integrate your phone system with Sagoma, and it's a great feature to kind of one up just the audio conferencing, but take it to the next level with your soft phone and your calling plan, both domestic and international. All right, next slide, please. All right. So next up is the Office apps being integrated. One of the best parts about Teams is that you can have everything Office in Teams. So as Jason mentioned earlier, we built out this whole deck with Teams. Our marketing team has, I think, 75 employees right now, and they just put out a webinar that had 1,000 attendees last month. They were all on Teams and able to share the documents, the SharePoint docs, the Excel spreadsheets, all in real time, seeing the changes that each other made, and then have the most updated version. Once you do want to save it, it is saved, and it is saved in your Files tab on the left, on the bottom, and it then takes into your OneDrive, and you have access to that indefinitely. If you do want to share that into a one-on-one chat or a small group chat or even a Teams channel, that is also saved in that chat indefinitely as well. And there's a file sub-tab in each conversation. So it's a great way to, if you ever need to find documents or files that you shared in the past, it's all in one place at all times. Next slide, please. To continue off that is file sharing. So as we know today, the problem with email is you have to go back and search for files that you shared, and it's not all consolidated into one place. With Teams, they make it extremely easy to organize and share your files, which also makes you more productive and takes a little bit of stress off of your plate. Teams files are basically, sorry, I lost my track. Teams files sharing really helps you consolidate all of your files in one spot, whereas your email, you are going back and forth and you are trying to find those, right? So with here, you can have your OneDrive, you can have your SharePoint, you can have your documents all synced here, opened, get the latest version, and you're not going back and forth between all these different platforms. That's gonna make you more productive, take the stress off your plate, and ultimately you're gonna be a happier and better employee. All right, last slide, please. So with team security and compliance and security, really, if you are in any, HIPAA compliance, FINRA, or other compliance industry, this is your compliance in a box. It's your one-stop shop solution and can help you with all of your legal needs. If you are a law firm, for instance, and you need e-discovery, which is an advanced email filtering and searching capability, you can use that feature in Teams for no extra cost. You can search. So I guess if you are a law firm, you do need to have your documents for 7 years. Teams will have all your documents, all your Teams chats, all conversations can be kept indefinitely and all found at a very easy place. So in the files tabs, in the chat tab, in the documents tab, it's all there and all kept nicely. Another great feature with security is MFA. MFA is multi-factor authentication. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with multi-factor authentication, it is a way that you can get a code. So if you are signed into Teams and you need to get a code, just like if you were to go to the bank, right, and you're logging into your account, you get a code either sent to a text, a call, or you have a different app that you type in a code to that verifies that you are logging into the app and therefore you have access to it. With MFA, you get the ability to get Teams on your phone, which is huge. Therefore, with Teams on your phone, you can work anywhere at any time, and it makes you, the most productive you can possibly be. So, in closing, if you'd like to learn more about Teams, the capabilities, the features, the security, the audio conferencing, calling, and communication, please reach out to Charlie and TCS, and we can give you guys a demo of the platform. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. I appreciate that. It's a good overview of Teams. One of the things I really like about Teams is, and you touched on this, rather than sending all these emails with file attachments back and forth and kind of having different versions of the truth, Teams allows you to centralize the storage of those documents and collaborate and work together in small or large groups to work around the same set of documents. Our management team here at TCS uses that for, we have a management team within Teams, and we have all of our weekly scorecards, our meeting agendas, all the supporting documents that we have to run our management meetings each week that we're able to go in, work on those things real time together, or go in and work separately as we have time, but we're all working from the same revision of documents and sharing the same information. And so whether we're messaging each other back and forth just as a quick check-in on something or a quick question, or having the Teams meetings, for example, back when I was on quarantine, I was facilitating and running the management meetings as I do each week, but able to do that from home and using Teams video conferencing to stay connected and still feel that that connection with my teammates as we're talking and working on the management work week to week. And so I didn't feel that isolation because of the ability to do a video call, have a meeting, and still have real time communication, both with teams and with the unified communications platform with Sangoma. Always feel connected to both the employees and my teammates, but also to clients where I just don't miss a beat if I'm working from home or anywhere else. So I think that the power of the integration of these platforms and really the intentionality behind moving to a mobility first kind of strategy has a lot of benefits. We've touched on a good number of these. Definitely having it in a secure environment is critical for all the, especially regulatory compliance that a lot of us have to work under. But just also for the information security around our information, to know that it's protected, encrypted, and confidential when we're sharing sensitive information back and forth, that we can do that freely, but not have to worry about that information being compromised. So thanks for sharing that, Jason and Nate. So just to wrap things up here, as I mentioned from the start, this is the first of 4 planned webinars in our TCS education series for the year. The next one, we'll announce the date once we have that nailed down. But in Q2, which we're about to start tomorrow, endpoint and application security versus the soft GUI middle. And so really, there's a lot of touch points with the idea of the mobility first strategy and endpoint and application security, because now you're maybe working from a Starbucks or from your house or some other place where you don't have the benefit of the firewall and the other security pieces in place in the corporate environment. So we're going to kind of dive into that in Q2, and then Q3, hardening the user. So that's security around the sometimes weakest link in the security chain, and that's the end user. And how can we train and really harden the user so that they become part of that defense in depth strategy, in addition to all the security pieces that we're putting in place. And then finally in Q4, business continuity or else. And so that's really going to focus on not a if, but when something happens. And I've lived long enough in IT now to see the worst possible things happen to business, and how can we develop disaster recovery and business continuity strategy for our business. And a lot of this mobility first kind of helps enable staying ahead of the curve on this when things do happen, that not only can we recover from a disaster, but that we can maintain effective business operations through an event that would otherwise be disruptive to business. So watch for upcoming communication around those things as we either publish other articles, and you can always find our content on our website at choosetcs.com/resources. That's where we publish all of these blog articles, and then we'll send out periodic emails as just kind of pointing folks back to that content. It's kind of a roll up that we'll do on a quarterly basis in advance of the webinars that we do. So with that, just want to say thanks again, not only to our business partners who we couldn't really do this and support our clients with the technologies we use without their help. So thanks again to Jessica Campus at Sangoma, and Jason Hertz and Nate Brown at PAX 8. We really appreciate our vendor partners, and it helps make us a better company and more effective in working with our clients. And then again, thanks as always to our clients who we value our relationships with each of you, and appreciate the trust that you have in us to be your technology partner. And our hope is that we are working with you in a way that you see the business value in technology not existing for its own sake, but to really help drive the strategic vision of your business. So once again, thanks to all of you for attending this, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Have a great day. Take care, everybody.